A couple of weeks ago, I unboxed and gave my first impressions of the all-new ASUS ROG Zephyrus S GX502, which comes with a 9th Gen Intel Core i7-9750H processor along with a RTX 2070 Max-P GPU. So a lot of you have been asking in my unboxing video about its performance, thermals and everything, but in this review, we're just going to focus on whether is it really a worthy upgrade over an old 8th Gen i7 laptop, because the RTX 2070 has been available on 8th Gen i7 gaming laptops in the last round. So in this review, I've been testing for about 2 weeks. Of course, within these 2 weeks, it has received like a couple of BIOS upgrades to increase system stability. We're going to find out if the Zephyrus GX502 is a worthy purchase over an 8th Gen i7 gaming laptop. So ASUS actually got us a little confused when they called this laptop the ROG Zephyrus S, because the original Zephyrus had the model number GX501 and this is the GX502. So it sounds like it should technically be the upgrade of the original Zephyrus, right? But that's not the case, because ASUS actually has 2 Zephyrus S models in its portfolio. So if you are looking at the one that has the similar form factor as the original Zephyrus, then you should be looking at the GX531 instead of this. So throughout this entire review, we're just going to call this the GX502. My impressions from the unboxing hasn't changed at all. The GX502 has a pretty robust build that you would be expecting from an ROG laptop. There is no flex on the keyboard area, and the typing experience is one of the best I've experienced. ASUS has made use of the workspace to divide the function keys into 3 groups. The media keys are on the first row, fan control and screen brightness on the second row, and others on the third row. The directional keys are a little small, but I haven't had any trouble with them. For those who loves to play around with RGB lighting, the keyboard unfortunately doesn't support per key configuration, and there's no way to change lighting color of the ROG branding. The trackpad isn't the widest, but its tracking performance is excellent for productivity work. The lack of a webcam might not seem like a deal breaker for streamers, but given the fact this is a premium gaming laptop, it doesn't justify why ASUS couldn't just include one, since the screen panel isn't obstructed by some hardware. Our GX502 comes with a 15.6-inch 144Hz refresh rate panel with G-Sync support, which you probably should go straight for the 240Hz screen. That's only an extra 200 ringgit on the price tag. Colors look good and accurate as you would expect from a Pantone validated display. It covers 100% of the sRGB color space, which is sufficient for basic creative work. The GX502 has got one of the best loudspeakers I've heard on a gaming laptop. Though they fire sound through the bottom, it is loud enough to fill a room with powerful bass and wide soundstage. Although the GX502 has a decent amount of ports, there's no Thunderbolt 3 support for the USB-C port, which is a letdown since most gaming laptops on its price range already have it as standard. There also isn't an SD card or micro SD card reader, which shouldn't be an issue for most gamers as well. The GX502 employs a 512GB Intel SSD 600p 3D TLC NAND for its storage, which delivers the standard 2-lane PCIe sequential read and write speeds at 1684 MB per second and 973 MB per second respectively. Like the other Zephyrus models, the GX502 tilts a little when the screen is lifted to allow more airflow through the bottom of the chassis. The cooling fans are really loud when running on full load, but it dissipates heat efficiently through 4 vents. Assessing the Zephyrus S internals is pretty straightforward, and I think it is one of the easiest gaming laptops to upgrade that I've ever experienced. So first of all, there's actually a topper part of the back case over here that you need to unscrew 4 little screws right here, and first this panel will come off and it reveals 2 of its cooling fans right here. I'm not sure why ASUS has done this, which I assume is probably to allow bigger airflow. If you want more airflow into the system, you just gotta remove this casing. So yes, these are the 2 cooling fans right here. So after removing the upper part of the chassis, you got to remove 3 more screws, which is 1, 2, 3 over here, and of course this 2 as well, which holds onto the chassis, and remove the remaining screws on the base of this laptop. And there's one screw over here that I didn't take out because technically there is something here. There is a small little metal piece here that gets the screw stuck so that you don't lose it. A really good security feature. So let's put the case away, and this is what we see on the Zephyrus S internals. It's a very straightforward layout that I like it a lot. Upgradability is extremely simple. So you got the SSD over here, a PCIe SSD with a aluminum foil over here, which helps to dissipate heat off the SSD controller. You get a second M2 SSD slot over here, so you can add on more storage if you can. There's no SATA storage bay, and basically the 16GB RAM is already built in onto the motherboard. Either it is soldered or it's on the other side of the motherboard. But all you need to do if you want dual channel, you just need to add on an extra RAM here, and you know, it could just go for dual channel. The 2 cooling fans here are very big, which is good, which is why you're going to hear a really loud fan sound while you're gaming, because these are very strong fans that dissipate heat out of the processor and the GPU. So during my usage on the Zephyrus S, I do of course find the fan noise a little annoying because of these really big and strong fans. But the good thing about this is that they dissipate heat really well, and there's no system throttle on this machine. So if you look at the entire chassis, most of the space has been given to the battery, the loudspeakers, and the fans over here, which explains why ASUS couldn't even include an extra port or a SD card slot reader onto the motherboard itself, because this motherboard is already so compact. They've already tried to cram every port onto the side itself, and it's really compact that you can't really add on anything anymore. But the good part of this motherboard is that you do need to flip over to upgrade the parts and so on, which is unlike MSI's GS series notebooks. So I would consider this design to be very simple and decent. Gaming performance on the GX502 isn't too different from gaming laptops with an 8th Gen i7 processor. We ran our usual gaming benchmarks like we did back on the ROG Strixstar 2 review. On the battle scene of the Final Fantasy 15 benchmark, the GX502 scores an average 54 frames per second on 1080p and high graphics setting. Turning on 4K DLSS results in an average 41 frames per second over 33 frames per second with 4K DLSS turned off. This round, we finally get to test Shadow of the Tomb Raider with high quality ray trace shadows. Though the average frame rate isn't too different from the results of ray tracing disabled, I noticed a significant frame drop in some parts of the game. So it's best to lower ray trace shadow quality if you want a smoother gameplay. On Battlefield 5, the laptop maintains above 60 frames per second on average with ray tracing enabled. The GX502 may not perform significantly better in games over an 8th Gen i7 gaming laptop, but it is an extremely fast machine for creative work. Running Cinebench R20 on both the GX502 and an 8th Gen i7 MSI GS65, the CPU score of the GX502 is 30% higher than the latter. When exporting a 9-minute 4K video on Premiere Pro, the GX502 outperformed the 8th Gen i7 about 8 minutes faster in my test with GPU rendering. In terms of thermals, the GX502's powerful cooling fans are able to keep the CPU temperature well below 95 degrees Celsius and the GPU temperature under 90 degrees Celsius during gaming. Battery life is decent for its class, as I managed to record around 4 hours of productive use when running on power saving mode and 70% brightness level. With a starting price of 84.99 ringgit or $2,050 US, the GX502 is a well-built laptop with great performance. I have no problems recommending this purchase if you don't need Thunderbolt 3 and a built-in webcam. But that's just the thing. This laptop could be way cheaper without these two things, and there's nothing complicated about the laptop's design that requires these compromises, and it doesn't justify the premium at all. You could also probably get more attractive features with other brands out there. Seriously, the decision behind these compromises just doesn't make sense to me at all, and I hope ASUS would stop doing this on the successor model and newer gaming laptops. That's it for my review of the Zephyrus S GX502. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, thumbs up if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell icon next to it to be notified of any new uploads. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.